Italy, they said. Move to Venice, they said. It'd be fun. Have a vacation in Venice, they said. It'd be fun, they said. Well, the first thing I didn't expect to happen was a friggin' fight with Spider-Man would break out. Anyways, hello guys, I'm Zachary in the Raboot Squad, and today, while I'm taking my little vacation in Venice, in this very hectic part of Venice, get away, Hydro Man. Anyways, so for today's movie review, we are taking a look at the 2021 movie, The Mitchells vs. the Machines, which is a 2021 movie which is from our good friends at Sony Pictures Animation, who have had a pretty decent track record over the years now. Since their absolute failure with the Emoji Movie, now they have been actually a pretty good studio with their movies, where most of them have ranged from pretty decent to where before they were a lot of mediocre movies, they were a lot of mediocre films from the studio before, but by the time Sony transitioned into the late 2010s, especially starting with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Sony has made some very creative films and have found their footing as a true big animation studio along the lines of something like Pixar or DreamWorks. Along the lines of studios like Pixar, DreamWorks, or even Illumination. Or even though not all their films nowadays are really, not all of their films nowadays are great films. Like Peter Rabbit 2 was kind of bad, and I would say that Hotel Transylvania 3 is probably so far the worst of the Hotel Transylvania movies, even though, then again, I have not seen the third movie. But then again, I have not seen the fourth movie of the franchise yet that's planned to release this year. So I don't know if the franchise is going to end off on a high note or a bad note like the third movie. But with movies like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Vivo, and Wish Dragon, and even surprisingly the Angry Birds movie 2, they've ended up being pretty good films. And that also goes for today's movie, The Mitchells vs. the Machines. Originally titled Connected and planned for a release on September 18th, 2020. The movie was actually originally called The Mitchells vs. the Machines, till Sony decided to change it to The Mitchells to Connected, which then that got reverted to The Mitchells vs. the Machines. Anyways, what are my thoughts on this movie? Let's talk about it. Here's my review of The Mitchells vs. the Machines. The movie follows Katie Mitchell, a film student a aspiring film student who ends up getting into her dream who ends up getting an invite to her dream college. Meanwhile, we meet the rest of her family, including the mother, Linda, who's a very protective mother, who cares a lot for her kids. There's Aaron, Katie's little brother, who is obsessed with dinosaurs, and is voiced by the movie's director, and is voiced by the director of the movie. And also the pug Monchi, who's credited to be played by Doug the Pug in the movie, but that's kind of odd, but interesting, I guess. But he's mostly there to be the comic relief of the movie, he's mostly there to add in the jokes to the film, to have cute little dog puns and cute little jokes about dogs in the movie. But the character that they focus on the most in this film is actually Katie's father, Rick, who is more of an outdoors man, and who loves the older memories he had with his family. And during that night, while Katie decides to show Rick a video, the two get into a little bit of an argument, leading to Katie's laptop being broken and her being absolutely furious at Rick. But Rick, feeling like his family, feeling like he's growing apart from his daughter, decides to have one last family road trip together, to bring Katie to her college, so that they could spend great family time together. Meanwhile, a big Apple-like corporation called PAL, who's, now that I think about it, is more like Amazon, decides to unveil their newest creation, these PAL robots that do pretty much anything the customer wants them to do. And is used as a replacement for the older PAL AI, played by Olivia Colman, who is a Siri-type villain, who is a Siri-type character, who ends up being the villain, and after that, she's pretty much replaced by these newer robots. She decides to make all the machinery made by PAL turn against the humans. Ends in a robot uprising. And we also meet the creator of the PAL devices. It is played by Eric Andre while that happens. Anyways, then after the Mitchells get to a rest stop, they end up the robot apocalypse subplot ends up the robot apocalypse plot ends up coming back to them. As two robots decide to, as two defective PAL bots decide to join in the journey. To get to the PAL offices to launch a kill code into PAL, so that they could end her reign of terror. But and as the movie goes on, it goes into the plots it goes into the subplots. It goes into the type of stuff you'd expect from this movie, but it does it pretty well. Like, there's a lot of moments where Rick tries to bond with Katie. Some of them working and some of them not. And the movie, of course, ends off with Rick accepting his daughter's passion, and then letting her go into film college. And the movie, and my overall thoughts on the movie is, it's really freaking good. The animation is top notch on this film. It has more of a cartoony look to it, but it ends up having a unique flair, it kind of has like a Scott Pilgrim-esque, adding 2D elements and for comedic moments, and even has sort of a Spider-Verse thing where it has 2D moments as in more action scenes in the movie, which I found pretty cool. Also, for the humor, this movie is absolutely freaking hilarious. Like, most of the jokes in this movie do land, with one of the funniest jokes being when Pal decides to turn off the Wi-Fi. That joke is absolutely hilarious, and if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Also, the acting in the movie is really... Also, I do like the whole crap ton of movie references. With Katie wanting to become a film student, wanting to become a filmmaker, or aspiring to become a filmmaker, there's a lot of film references and jokes that many movie fans can point out. And the movie does, and I have sort of a soft spot for this movie. With the main character wanting to be a filmmaker, or as even myself, I want to be, as it does hit pretty close to how I myself want to become a filmmaker one day. Want to become a film director one day. Hey, this movie also has some great acting as well. This movie also has great acting. And actors there's actors in this movie like Danny McBride as Rick, who brings a pretty fun, who does a fun performance as the character. Maya Rudolph as Linda has some pretty great moments as well. Oh, and Katie does have her, and Katie also has her charm at most, and also at a lot of moments in the film, Katie does have her charm. Does have a charming personality in how Abby Jacobson portrays her character. Also, for other characters like Pal, played by Olivia Colman, and the creator of the PAL devices, played by Eric Andre. Hey, they both have their... Olivia Colman Olivia Colman does a great job as PAL, giving her where she definitely has a great evil vibe to her. And she does a great job with the comedic moments. And it's like she doesn't try to take it too seriously, which I really like. I really like how they don't try to take her too seriously. And the movie has moments where it relaxes a bit to have a funny joke here and there. Also, props to Sony for having a character who... Also, props to Sony for her using a old internet meme song and actually... Props for Sony for using a song using an internet meme song from the 2000s and not making it, and actually making it a pretty sweet moment, and of it just being a song that just being a moment, and that the family can... That is a way so Rick can try to bond more with his family. It does have a good return at the end of the movie, near the end of the movie. Also, I like how this movie, unlike other films, doesn't have a... One of my major worries I had going into the film is that I thought that the movie would lean a little too more towards the usual technology bad message. But I like how this film actually shows how both sides of the argument. And where usually most films are like, oh, you kids on your technology nowadays and all that stuff. This film actually shows both. This film actually shows how technology can actually help people be creative with their talent. And then express themselves a lot, which I do like how they do that. And also, this movie is one of those films where The Mitchells vs. the Machines is a fun movie that ends up having a fun message. That ends up having a nice message. It's some good visuals, great voice acting, and a heartwarming story, and some fun and lovable characters. Overall, I'd give The Mitchells vs. the Machines a rating. I'd give The Mitchells vs. the Machines a 9.5 out of 10. It's a great film. If you haven't seen it, go check it out if you can. And as for next time on the channel, oh boy. Well, at least I could say for next time, it's better than the first. It was better than the first one. See you later, guys.
like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test, to train them is my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Each Pokemon